Hello, storyteller, storytelling Ron. So let's talk again about the Olympic paganism. So the Olympics has a law, a ruling that you cannot have any religious, slogans or anything. They don't want any of that or politics or whatever, but no religious whatever, right? Um, Welcome to the 33rd Paris Olympic Games ceremony. This is creepy. I didn't see this, and they also had like three drag queens bring the torch in. And we all know drag queens and LGBTQ is a religion. It is a religion. It's a belief system, and they're pushing it on us through government. So they can have that in the Paris Olympics, where the symbols are obvious, with death on a pale horse, a bearded woman dancing provocatively, along with horrifying decapitated performances. I did not see that, or I didn't watch the thing anyway, and an inverted mockery of the Last Supper. So they're trying to claim this is the Greek gods. Well, right there, they're already breaking the rule again. If they're saying that this is Dionysus and Bacchus and all the Greek stuff, that's also a religion, by the way. It's a real world religion. Just because it was defeated and eradicated by Christianity, well, Christians just left, or pagans just left it for Christianity, doesn't mean it's suddenly now government or Olympics supported. So I'm going to go to takes here, not to be Peter Heck. They're gaslighting. Sorry, right? The first off, and this guy does a long-winded X thing where he's posting about how, no, it's just this pagan thing. It's not even, it's not meant to be a Last Supper or whatever. But even if it is the pagan thing, that is not part of Olympics. You're not even allowed to do that. They've already gotten a surfer to remove. They told him he had to remove his Jesus from his surfboard, otherwise he's going to be disqualified. So, but yet you can have Greek or Thor or whatever on your things. You can have pagan stuff, and this is disgusting. Look at do you want this kind of culture in your world? I mean, do you really want the paganism back like this? The sexual perversity, the sexual derision, this grotesqueness of men pretending to be women and replacing women. So they're trying to gaslight by saying that they never meant this to be offensive, but it is offensive. So this is pretty funny. Thanks for Peter Heck and not to be for finding all this stuff out. But this is that woman right there posted this, and she said, "Oh yes, the New Gay Testament." So that woman right there, Barbara Butch, posted this, right? Don't believe the producers of the Olympic ceremonies when they admitted in a statement that the ceremonies director Thomas Jolly took inspiration from Leonardo da Vinci's famous painting to create the setting. Don't believe the actual title given to the sequence of the ceremonies, La Sienne sur la Sienne sur la Sienne. Translation: The Last Supper on the stage on the river Seine. So they overtly said this stuff, and now they're pretending that they didn't mean to offend. They will. The New Testament says they're going to mock and scoff us, right? Thou shalt not bear false witness is not a rule pagans have to follow. Secularists, atheists, they don't have to follow that rule. Thou shalt not bear false witness is a rule, one of our very absolute rules of Jesus Christ and of God, that you don't slander people. You don't destroy them with lies, right? It's falsely accuse them of things so that you will destroy them. It's like murder, because you're trying to swat them or get them arrested or get them hurt. You're trying to take them out without really having to be the actual, direct killer, but you're really trying to kill them anyway. So bearing false witness is an attempt to kill someone, destroy them, but it's also an attempt to manipulate and control people, and bring fear into people to hate others. We see this all the time with pagans, with the left, with the Democrats. They constantly say white supremacists, racists, white devils. We're the fascist. Even though fascism is just socialism, which is just Marxism, which is just communism, it's all the same thing. They claim that the Nazis are the far right. The far right are the Amish. The Amish are the far right. Nazis and National Socialists, and the national they're referring to is federalizing everything. They want to nationalize everything. They don't want nations. They want to conquer other nations. But the National and National Socialists is federalizing, like creating a centralized power structure, which is what they did, which is what socialism is. Thomas Jolly. Okay, second, inclusion never includes Christianity. Thomas Jolly, the guy who did it, most of all, I wanted to send a message of love, a message of inclusion, and not at all to divide. Well, that's not true. That's absolutely false what he's saying there, and he knows it. The spokeswoman said, "We really did try to celebrate community tolerance." Barbara Butch, the fat queer Jewish actress who portrayed Jesus in the ceremonies, describes herself as an LGBTQ plus activist who is prominent for promoting diversity and inclusivity in the community, but not Christianity. We say homosexuality is a sin. Are we included? I don't think so. Also, they're not going to go up against Islam, and the reason they're not going to go up against Islam is because terrorism works on them. Terrorism works on the pagans. That's why Islam has been so successful in the pagan world and taking them out in that regard. I've said this before, but I'll say it again. And I remember reading about in India how a guy, and I was reading some Indian guy, he said that they were pretty much going to get eradicated by Muslims until the British white devil colonists came in and confronted them. And they the British officers realized that there was this terror being spread throughout India, and the way they ended it one way. They went after the imams. They started executing the imams. And what do you know? Terrorism suddenly stopped. And he said that they, like, literally their occupation of India saved India and the Hindus from the terrorism of Islam. This is back in like 17th, 18th century, whatever. Finally, Christians have to get shrewder and wiser when opportunities present themselves. So I fault no Christian for being upset, angry, or hurt by the rather shocking display. They need to repent and surrender their lives to the better way. So, my whole channel has been about we need to wear our faith on our shirt, in our games, in our role-playing games, and stop being a pagan, and stop nodding along. And this is the end result. The end result is this, this stuff. This is the end result of us nodding along with them and going along to get along. In Dungeons and Dragons, look at this is an image of a Dungeons and Dragons now, right? The new iteration of it, the 2025 iteration or 2024 iteration of it is turning like into this. This is what it looks like. And it's because we are letting that happen. We as Christians are not bringing our faith we're not rebuking anymore. We need to rebuke. In church history, it was all about rebuking the pagan activity. I know, obviously, I think we've all forgotten about it. We've all forgotten how pagans are, and this is them coming out again. And the witches believe they have a renaissance right now in the last 10 years. So we Christians need to, we need to have our revival. And I think we are, though. I think there's a lot of Christianity happening. There was a big demonstration outside in Paris by the Eiffel Tower. I saw on videos of Christians gathering and Christian. And there's even a movement in Spain where Spain is Christian. So there are these movements, and I like the radicalism of both sides. I like this. Are we Christians tolerant? I don't know if we're tolerant because we can't force you to believe in Jesus Christ. We're tolerant in that sense, but we're not tolerant in the sense of why are we letting them sacrifice babies and sexualize children and all that? We're not tolerant of that. Of course, we don't run the government right now. We're too tolerant or whatever. We need to bring back a modicum of morality and Christian ethics back into government. And we've been allowing government to run roughshod into paganism. And we've sort of been trying to be nice to go along to get along. But it's not working. It's obviously not working. The amount of abortions that are going on is incredible. The amount of human sacrifice going on across the world, the murdering of babies is incredible. And we're letting it happen. And the culture is one where murdering babies is fine. So we need to change this. We need to get a bit, I don't know what the word is. Radical? Zealot? So this 16-year-old, so, you're not allowed to have Christianity in the Olympics. And then the 16-year-old here did it. She did a sign language of Jesus is the way, the life, the truth, the life. And now they're trying to scrub that from, it's being scrubbed. You can't see it anymore. The Olympics doesn't want to show it. But they did take away that Last Supper thing as well. Also, the Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci is not a holy relic to us. It's just an awesome depiction of our thing. But obviously the pagans they're going to use that to mock Christianity. They're not using it to mock Leonardo da Vinci. They're not using it to mock his painting. They're using it specifically to mock Christians and to break us down and to destroy us and weaken us and mock us so that the children will mock us, so that our families will mock us, so the government will mock us, and so we will be persecuted. That's exactly what they want. Do we want pedophilia, if you want pedophilia to be legal, continue down the path of paganism. If you want pedophilia to be legal, and where this woman will be replaced by men, trans men in her sport, continue down the path of paganism, because that's what they want. They want pedophilia. And that was what it was before Christianity. If you in the New Testament, if you read, the sexuality of the families was such that the men sexualized the family and the boys and girls around them. And that was the norm of the church members when Christ came in and the church came in and cleaned them up. And men and families started realizing, yeah, we don't want this paganism. We don't want this. Thomas Holland, who wrote Dominion? I'm reading it right now, but it's in my room. But he had said that the historians now realize that it wasn't Christian conquest that took out the pagan temples. It was that people all left the temples in disrepair, disregarded it, and went to to church, to Christians, to charity and family. And they understood that this was they didn't want to keep having sexualizing children. That's how Christianity exploded. What are we doing now? We're accepting this sort of paganism, which is, what are they doing? They're obviously going after the children. They're sexualizing children. There's a little girl right here, and this is all sexualized imagery, debauchery, hedonism. So yeah, this is a fun little video. I just to add at the end here. Oh, good call. Call back in a sec. This is a fun little video here where this guy went to he dressed up in a Trump shirt and got attacked by the Kamala people. They were protesting, and then he went into the Trump arena and rode the Biden-Harris, and everyone was just cracking up and joking with him. And there was this one guy who, of course, throws water on him, the Biden-Harris. And what I want to say about this is that the left pagans want. Just like in Genesis 3, the serpent tells Eve, forget about God and his word. You can be your own God. That's what they want. They want to be their own God and control. Now, and they know that the left, the Democrat Party, is where they go to do that. They can see the hierarchy of many gods and the tyrants and the bureaucracies and the regulations and the control over you, the health care, the education. They want to control everything. They will vote that in. They vote in tyranny. They would rather have tyranny and homeless, disgusting homeless stuff around my city here, and perverse sexuality and crime. They'd rather have all that so that they can be their little gods than to listen to God and the Ten Commandments and the love of Jesus Christ. They'd rather have that. They'd rather vote for tyranny. And they were made that way. I'm a Calvinist. That's how they were made. I mean, you can look in their eyes and just see. You can tell them truth after truth after truth, and they will, deny it. So my point is, or what's the answer? What's the answer to this? Join a church, support a church, be in a church, help build up the church and a ministry. Do something. I have a role-playing game because I'm in the RPG culture, and take the game and use it. Start your own fellowship and ministry in the RPG culture. Or or steal the game mechanics out of it and the concepts and the ideas out of it for your games. I think it's gonna be a little harder because of the, how you gonna have the Bible in there. But I don't know. But anyway, and that's something I've been thinking about. But I'm focusing on the Dark Ages being in the real world, like sort of amalgam of European history and church history, because I have not studied church history. I've studied Marvel. I've studied Star Wars. I've studied Dungeons and Dragons and Forgotten Realms or whatever. I've studied all that so neatly, and the Wikipedia has been on there for a long time, but I have not studied church history as a Christian. Isn't that amazing? And I realized, wow, what a dummy. History is so amazing. Anyway, that's what I'm trying to study now with this game here, Dark Ages, and creating fun little adventures and stuff. Anyway, the game of life. Get away. The paganism is on the rise. It's in its renaissance. It's pushing now. We got to push back, and that's just the way it is. It's just the way it is, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with them being radical and zealot. I'm really okay with it because we need to be as well. And may the best God win. Game of life. Roll holy dice.